Best chocolate chip cookie recipe you'll ever try, and if you're impatient like me, don't worry, you don't have to chill the dough in the freezer. Start off by browning your butter, which is going to make your whole house smell like a bakery, and then after it cools, add the brown sugar and white sugar and combine. Then add in an egg and 2 yolks along with the vanilla extract and mix until you have a thick caramel consistency. For the dry ingredients, you'll whisk together flour, baking soda, and salt and combine that with the wet using a rubber spatula until you have a dough. Sneak in a taste of the cookie dough and then add in your semi-sweet and milk chocolate. Mix that together, let the dough rest, scoop it, and then pop it in the oven to bake. The edges are crispy, there's pools of chocolate, and the center is so chewy. All that's left to do is enjoy with a glass of milk.
If cookies are your love language, here's the recipe for the best brown butter chocolate chip cookies of all time. Start by putting 3/4 of a cup of butter on low heat on the stove. First, it will start to bubble up like this, and eventually it'll turn this beautiful golden brown color. Take it off the heat, then add in 1 cup of brown sugar and 1/4 cup of white sugar. Mix that until just combined, then add in 1 large egg yolk, a whole egg, and a tablespoon of vanilla. This is 3 times as much vanilla as normal, and I promise you it's worth it. Then add in 1 3/4 cups of spoon and level all-purpose flour, 3/4 teaspoon baking soda, and 1 teaspoon salt. Mix this until just combined, then add in 2 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips or 8 ounces of chopped chocolate. From there, scoop your cookie dough into 2-ounce balls, roll them between your hands, and then I like to do this trick where you add a few more pieces of chocolate to the top of each cookie. Then you need to chill these cookies for at least 30 minutes. This really helps them to deepen in flavor and leads to a better texture. Cover them, place them in the fridge, then when you're ready, bake at 350 for 11 to 12 minutes. Always top your cookies with a little sea salt, and that is it. Best chocolate chip cookies you'll ever eat.
These chocolate chip cookies have over 500 5-star reviews, and if that's not enough to get you to bake these, just listen to this bite. They're perfectly crisp on the outside, gooey on the inside, and also so easy to make because we're using melted butter. I was heavy into overnight cookie dough, where you chill cookie dough overnight to get the most flavor and texture. And when I was making these, I wanted to challenge myself to get that flavor and texture without the weight. And oh my gosh, my dog, she's so freaking adorable. But anyway, somehow I nailed it by using the most basic ingredients: flour, butter, sugar, vanilla, and the best chocolate chips. I ran a little experiment last year to find the best chocolate chips for chocolate chip cookies, and these Trader Joe's semi-sweet won out by a landslide. Now, there's a few tricks that elevate these chocolate chip cookies, and first is our scooper. Using a large ice cream scoop creates a variety of textures in your cookies, and then top with chocolate chips before baking. Pull them out of the oven when the center still looks a little underdone. Trust me, once they cool, that center will set into this ooey gooey texture. Top with sea salt, and they are perfect.
Today we're making probably my favorite cookie recipe that I've made in a while, so here's how I made it. So compared to my OG recipe, I adjusted the brown sugar and added a little bit more because I wanted the center of the cookies to be a little bit more chewy. So here I'm just adding our sugars and butter together, and we're going to mix it for about 2 minutes until well combined. I also added an extra stick of butter to this recipe because I wanted the cookies to spread out a little bit more than my last recipe. But now that our butter and sugars are combined, we're going to add 2 eggs, 1 at a time, as well as vanilla extract and 2 tablespoons of milk. Mix until well combined, but make sure not to overmix your batter, and then we're going to add in all of our dry ingredients. I also added cinnamon into this recipe, but if you don't like cinnamon, don't add it. I just think cinnamon complements chocolate chip cookies extremely well. Now we're going to add in 4 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate and 4 ounces of milk chocolate. If you don't like milk chocolate, use dark chocolate. And then I use a standard cookie scoop to scoop out the cookies. I also added extra chunks of chocolate on top of the cookie dough before I baked them, and then fresh out of the oven added some flaky salt. And also an important tip, only bake 1 cookie the first time around, because once your cookie sheet is warm from the oven, the second batch usually comes out slightly different anyway, so that's usually how I avoid it, and you're done.
Welcome back to my Christmas cookie series. This is episode 33, the best chocolate chip cookie recipe, and I'm going to put it below. To start, you need 3/4 cup of butter, and you're going to brown it. It's going to get all frothy like this. Just let it keep going, and then when you see brown coming out of the top like this, it's brown. Take it off the heat, and you're going to put it in your pan, bowl, whatever your mixing bowl is, and then you're going to get all those brown bits in the bottom. That's the best part. To start, you need 1 cup of brown sugar and then 1/4 cup of white sugar. Mix that in. 1 egg plus 1 egg yolk. Mix that in, and a tablespoon of vanilla. I like to measure that with my heart. You need 3/4 teaspoon baking soda, 1 teaspoon salt, 1 3/4 cup of flour in there, and you're going to mix that all in. Then for the chocolate, I got a Hershey chocolate bar, 2 of those, chopped them up, put them in there. I then added a half cup of dark chocolate chips and 1 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips. So altogether 2 cups of chocolate. You can measure that however you want. You can add a whole cup of chocolate chunks if you wanted. Then you're going to scoop it onto a lined pan and put more chocolate on the top. You're going to refrigerate them for 30 minutes, then you're going to bake them at 350 for 11 to 12 minutes. 10 out of 10 recommend this recipe. Please like and follow my page for more Christmas cookies. I'm going to do many more days coming up.
Bet you've never had a chocolate chip cookie this good. Crispy on the outside, chewy and gooey on the inside. So easy to make. Start with a cup of brown sugar and a 1/4 cup of white sugar, 2/3 of a cup of brown butter, and make sure you scoop in all the brown bits. They have all the flavor. A tablespoon of vanilla extract. Mix the ingredients until just combined. After mixing, add in 2 eggs. Make sure your eggs are room temperature. After the eggs goes a 4th teaspoon of espresso powder. It's optional, but it brings out the chocolate flavor. A teaspoon of baking soda and 1/2 teaspoon of cornstarch. Mix everything together for about a minute or 2. Add a cup and 3/4 of flour, 1 cup at a time. You want your dough to be like a Play-Doh consistency, not too soft and not too crumbly. I like folding in my flour with a spatula to prevent overmixing. Finally, for the best part, you add in your chocolate chips of choice. These are the ones I use. You're going to want to put 1.5 cups to 2 cups of chocolate chips. Again, I'm mixing by hand because I don't want to overmix it, and then you're ready to bake. For this recipe, it doesn't make a big difference between refrigerating and not refrigerating them, and that's one thing I love about it. So once you're done mixing, you take an ice cream scoop, and it can be any size. The bigger the scoop, the bigger the cookie. The less cookies you have, the smaller the scoop, the smaller the cookie, the more cookies you have. Place them on a baking sheet and preheat your oven to 375 degrees. You're going to keep them in for 11 to 12 minutes. Once they come out the oven, shape them with a cup and you're ready to enjoy. Don't forget to follow for more recipes.